Hi, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Candace Fuller, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Today, I have a really amazing special guest. Her name is Denise Fuller. She's actually my aunt and a licensed psychotherapist. So, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Thank you, niece. I'm very proud of you, and this is amazing. Nice to be here.
So, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your experience in the mental health industry.
Okay, well, I think, from a very young age, I knew that I was struggling with things in a different way than sort of my friends, or at least I was the one who talked about it, and my friends didn't. So I actually found therapy very young. I was probably 20. I looked in the yellow book and just found a therapist and started going and exploring all these things that were going on in my life that I didn't understand. And it turned out to be an amazing experience. So I headed out on the path. I mean, I've always been doing human service or community service. I've always been on the front line. I went to school, I went to grad school, and became a licensed clinical social worker, where I spent the last probably 20 years working in agencies and in the community, outpatient therapy or a director of clinics, just trying to provide mental health to people who don't have access to mental health on a regular basis.
Well, that's amazing.
Most
I
recently, I've headed back here though.
right.
Right.
My experience with therapy has helped me so much, as I mentioned in the previous video, but
Hmm.
I think it's so needed for everyone. And that's amazing that not everyone is fit for that industry to help out in that way. So I'm thankful for everyone in the mental health industry and who takes their time to, help people out. It's amazing.
You know what's funny about it is that a lot of people have had trauma in their lives or have had some sort of experience, I'll call it. When I teach in school, my thing is that we all didn't come here just by accident. We've all had an experience in our life that led us on this path to becoming therapists. And as a result of being on this path, we have a strong desire to help people, but it's also not completely selfless. You know what I mean? It's like we want to help people discover what we discovered. That's the ideal situation. And it doesn't always turn out that way. So you have to accept it. I mean, that's just the reality. But the fact that it's been such a mystery in communities of color is a huge problem. The white dominant culture has had access to therapy for many, many years. But based on the lack of trust with white supremacy and racism in the constructs of society, we've never known whether the truth was that it was going to help us or ultimately it was going to hurt us. And so I appreciate what you're doing because you're creating opportunities to remove the stigma. And the more clinicians of color there are, and the more cross-culturally trained clinicians there are, people start to realize there really is something here that can help you.
Right. I think a lot of people have a stigma about therapy. They think, there's something wrong with them if they get help. But in all reality, everyone needs to speak to someone about their issues, and their friends might not be able to do that. They're not licensed. They don't know exactly what to say. So from
Right.
my experience, it's just helped me out significantly. And I believe everyone should be doing it.
I do
Um,
too.
yeah. So today I'd love to speak a little bit about the effects of social media
Okay.
on mental health.
Hmm.
For me, I have to take breaks from social media. So I will literally deactivate all my social media for like 3 months if I'm in a funk.
Wow.
Yeah, the last time I deactivated it from like January to April because I just needed a break.
It's
I don't like
amazing.
yeah, I don't like keeping up with everyone and knowing what everyone's doing. I just need to clear my mind.
Yeah.
So, from your experience, what have you seen, or have you seen any effects, negative effects, from people using social media increasingly?
For sure. So, if you think about addiction and the adrenaline that you get from that quick fix, right? Social media has that same ability to give you that quick fix. I mean, if you really are in your body, you can feel your blood rise. You can feel yourself get a little excited as you get to where you are navigating to go, and you get on that site and you're looking for what you're looking for. The unfortunate problem is that it's never as gratifying as it seems. you know you spend hours and hours looking for this thing, this rush that you're going to get, and you end up chasing some rush you had at one point. You end up chasing it, and so it becomes a habit, it becomes a routine, and that's when it becomes potentially unhealthy, particularly if you're comparing yourself to the people you follow. There's a lot of celebrity chasing. There's a lot of, fake book posts where people are creating this life that they wish they had and they don't necessarily had. And then people start to get down on themselves because they don't have that same life. Nobody has that life, And so it just depends upon the mental health that you have when you try to use something that's potentially addictive. It's like gamers. Gamers can become professional, but they can also be addicted.
Right.
So it all depends upon what kind of mental health you're working with in the process. I think the other issue about social media is that it has given us access to so much that is great and so much that's not so great.
Mhm.
The idea that we can see things that we never were able to see before, it's a huge validation for those from marginalized communities.
Right.
The fact that we have been saying, hey, you're trying to kill us for how long, and people have said, yeah, but, and now it's there. It's some sort of odd validation that you don't really want, but you
Right.
need, in a sense.
I was
And
actually
then
going to ask you, like, there are negative, but there are some positives to social media.
yeah, but that's with anything, right? I mean, there's some negative and some positive. I think one of the biggest problems is that, growing up, I didn't have social media. And so what I see people doing, like how they're exposing themselves and how they put it all out there, I just can't even imagine what that's going to look like 10, 15 years down the road. So that's just another variable that people need to be considering.
Right, right. It's always changing, and like you mentioned, it's a lot of it is fake. It's not real. Like a lot of what we see and what we compare ourselves to, it's not genuine. It's not real. People edit
No,
their pictures, and I think it causes a lot of anxiety.
it
Um,
does.
from your experience, like, has there been an increase in any specific mental health issue from social
Oh,
media?
so the timing of it is the thing, right? Because it's been a pandemic, during the epidemic of white supremacy. At the same time, people haven't had access to income the way that they've had. They haven't had access to the things that help keep them balanced. So, yeah, there's been a huge increase in suicidality, depression, anxiety. It's been a very concerning time for people because if you didn't have support systems in place before these things, it's only worse during these things. And so it's a real problem. It's a real problem for sure.
What are some things people can do to, I guess, have some relief or some space from social media so that they're not affected as much? Like for me, like I
Yeah.
mentioned, I take breaks. Do you agree with that, or do you think there's something else people can do?
No, I think breaks are very important. I think just being able to time out is really important. The other thing is exercise. People underestimate the importance of exercise. I mean, it's so connected to your mental health. What you're eating, what you're putting in your body, it matters. I know we it gets frustrating for people because it's like, I don't want to be on a diet. Don't be on a diet, be on a lifestyle. Because those things balance each other. It's like what you eat, how you sleep, how much fluid you take in, your exercise. Who do you socialize with? Who do you spend your time with? If you spend your time with people who aren't doing their work, you're holding yourself back. So you have to surround yourself with a certain type of person who wants the emotional health that either you aspire to have or you're working at the same time to have. It's kind of a partnership in seeking that out.
It's true. Even the people you follow might not be good for your mental health. You said, who do you socialize with? That also includes people you're looking at every single day on your screen. Um,
Exactly.
and exercise helped me a lot. I love exercising. Like it increases your endorphins, and it just gives you a release and a break.
Right.
And I agree, it's a lifestyle. So you can pretty much choose how much social media you want to view every single day.
Exactly. And I think, in terms of exercise, you don't have to be a rigorous, triathlete, you get out and walk 30 minutes a day. You put your phone down for an hour more than you did the day before. Just do something to switch it up a little bit. Reading. I don't even know, do people read anymore? I mean, I read all the time, but I feel like it's just so much easier to pick your phone up and catch what you want to read there that you lose the art of the relaxation of opening a book and seeing what it's about. Like you said, following people who are just so far out of reach of anything that you really could have, it seems punishable to me. I don't understand. Like, I don't follow any celebrities. I follow activists and therapists because that nurtures what I do. I don't want to constantly look at people who have a life that I can't afford and shove it down my throat like I need to have it when I don't.
Right, right. Well, is there anything else you think is a good thing to mention as far as Mental Health Awareness Month in relation to social media that we should discuss?
I think that, there was an incident, probably, I think it was earlier this year. Uh, this guy actually committed suicide on social media. And I think it was on TikTok. The fact that people are becoming desensitized to things like that is really so scary for me, for the mental health of this country. The fact that kids are cyberbullied and that people just don't understand the detriment that's happening to the kids and to adults as well. I think people need to talk more about the risk of suicidality. It's not something that is as far out as you think. You always hear people say, I never thought they were that bad. Check in with people, have conversations, don't just text. I feel bad for your age group and younger because this whole idea of texting and not really sitting and having conversations and looking each other's eyes and checking in with someone. I think that's an art that's missing. So I would love to see that come back and people to take advantage when the pandemic starts to, lessen, to spend that quality time to check on each other because we all need it.
I agree. I feel like we're desensitized to certain mental health issues, and some people are just so afraid to talk about it. But it needs to be talked about because it's going to get worse. Like we've been having all these shootings going on, and I just think the more we talk about it, the more of an open discussion and more comfortable people will be to share their stories and get help.
Look, I always say to people, there's more people who are mentally unhealthy than there are mentally healthy. So you have to watch how you move through the world because you're going to bump into a person who doesn't believe their mental health is jeopardized when it actually is. So the more stable you are, the better it is for you. You don't push it as far. You keep a nice boundary around yourself. And the other thing is that mental health issues don't mean mental illness in a psychiatric ward. Like that's where people go.
Right.
It's like some people need a psychiatric ward, and that's wonderful. Glad we have it for them. But acknowledging that you have a consistent depression or that you have anxiety, it's about the chemicals in your body. It's a chemical imbalance. It's like like if you had a broken arm, would you walk around and go, oh, it's okay. This works fine. No, you'd want it fixed. Well, that's the same thing with a chemical imbalance. It's a way to just ground yourself so that you can function at your best ability. So I think that's the most important message. Get help. It's out there.
Yeah, and it's not, you're not the only one.
You're
There's
not
a lot of
alone.
people struggling, and you're not, like you mentioned, you're not alone.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I appreciate you joining me today.
For
Um,
sure.
how can people reach you? I know you have a podcast called Change the Narrative. If they wanted to hear some more about what you have to say.
Yeah, we're on all major platforms. Change the Narrative with J. Denise Fuller, and YouTube. Subscribe, like us on YouTube, leave a comment. Uh, just decide to support us. We'd appreciate it. I think we're trying to do something different, and it'd be excellent and awesome to have people join us. And then, of course, on my IG, same thing, and TikTok as well, same thing. JD Fuller.
Yeah, I follow you, and I've listened to a couple of your podcasts, so I'll link some of your information below. But
Awesome.
again, thank you so much for joining today, and I hope everyone takes our advice or her advice and gets help.
Our advice, team effort.
And I hope everyone has a wonderful week and you have good vibes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Denise.
Bye.